welcome to this video. I want to show you today my painting process of a portrait of a girl. First of all, I usually always put some undertone on the canvas before I start anything, just so it's not white. It also gives off a vibe, you know, as soon as you put down the first brush stroke of the underpainting, it creates the vibe of the picture, usually. It doesn't really matter which color to use. I chose green in this one just because I thought it was left over on the palette. So this is what I used. It's good to have not too bright or not too dark of a tone, and yeah, other than that, I think many people like to use red for landscapes, for example yellow, but it really doesn't matter, and it does change the picture in the end. You know, it gives the undertone makes a kind of significant underlying color for the whole thing, but yeah, it doesn't really matter so much. So I chose a picture on the laptop. You don't see it, but I can probably show you. I chose this picture because I just like it a lot. There's nice highlighting coming from the right side of the picture from the window, and yeah, some people say it's better to use really good quality pictures you should paint from, or you should use to paint off, but to be honest, I made some experiences with using less detailed pictures and actually making it more realistic by myself, just, you know, imagining what it looks like, and not so much relying on what the picture looks like. You know, I want to make it look real, of course, but in the end it's not a photograph I want to paint, but just, you know, a painting. So I think it's actually quite nice sometimes to choose a picture which might not have the best quality, or yeah, I think it's more important that the picture has good, or the face in the case of portraits, has good values. So the dark and the light areas, nice lighting. Other than that, I think it's not super important. Even the colors, you know, because you mix the colors, basically everything else doesn't matter so much, because the painting is not the photo. Then I talk a little bit about the process, what I'm doing right now. So I just put down the very unstructured and rough outline of the face and the hair and the upper body. You know, you can use techniques like looking for where points meet. For example, I always check where the eye lies in relation to the ear, for example. And yeah, other than that, it's, I think, a lot of experience and practice how to build up the head so it looks like a head. I chose to not go with red for the values now, but to make a bit of a darker tone. The color at this moment, it doesn't really matter so much. you know, what's more important is the values. You can see I put down a very dark tone, and yeah, I try to capture the big shadows, the big areas. I don't really look at it as shapes, but I try to imagine it more as a value. Sorry, not a value, but the volume. So in this example, you know, you could look how is the hair shaped like. You know, it's like a ball on the left side, or yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but I try to imagine more like the three-dimensional part. Now I chose a slightly lighter color to paint in the darker tones, the shadow tones of the face. I really like the brush stroke when I used or which I used for the cheekbone. It's kind of smooth, and yeah, I just, you know, at this stage it's not very important to make the face, or to make every single lighting in the darker areas, you know, for example in the ear, or maybe at the cheek, I don't know, to pay attention so much to that. But it's more important, and you've probably heard this a lot of times, to just get in the big shapes. And I think even now you can see the volume coming out of the values, you know. So the color is just, I think, the same red mixed with a little bit of maybe yellow, white, maybe a little bit brown and black, so just make it a little bit darker. But I think at this point you can clearly see how much, yeah, where the light hits the face. Now I just paint a little bit of the clothing. So I don't really have a step-by-step guide, like which area to paint first. What's nice usually is to go from dark to lighter, I think, especially in this stage of the painting, where you just don't or should not pay so much attention on details, or, you know, I like to just make these harsh brush strokes and you know, experience what I want the image to feel like. I think at this moment it's you know, it's kind of the image itself, or the picture. It's kind of romantic, I think, in a way, and the brush strokes, they're really, you know, messy, sloppy, and not making it so soft as the picture actually is. And I quite like this under painting then. To be honest, it depends how much effort you put in the picture, in the painting, like whether you go really like a lot of hours putting into this, or make it more rough. You know, it depends what you like. I think it also depends on the picture. Sometimes it's nicer to make it very simple and rough, and sometimes it's nicer to make it more detailed. So it usually depends, I think. But I think when painting a portrait, especially, just not paying so much attention in the beginning, especially if you're painting with oil, is very important, because it changes so much. You know, now I go really after the shapes I laid out in the beginning, and it works quite well. But yeah, I think, you know, this is only the first part of the painting, where it's not really important how it looks like. You know, of course you want to not miss the right values and so on. You know, here I make it a little bit more dark, for example, and it instantly creates a new volume. Also the hoodie, you know, it's important to make it loose, I think. To make it loose, but still precise and still correct, you know, so it actually looks like a nice or believable painting. I also quite like the colors at this point. You know, the red makes it pop out a little bit, and the green hoodie, it's nice complementary to the green background, but actually it doesn't really matter, you know. Now the background will for sure change. You know, I always change it mostly towards the end. Like, it's also not so important, I think, but it's nice to play with values. And you know, now I paint in the light area, so on this side where the face is more light, it's usually nice to have a more dark background, I think, so it stands out a little bit more. Of course it depends on the feeling of the picture and so on. But now you can see I just take the same color of the face and put it on the other side of her head. So yeah, it's not really, you know, I think it's very important usually, but maybe especially in portraits like this, to, you know, to just go for it and not think too much about it. It's only 12 minutes since this painting has been started to be painted, but you know, it's already, I don't know, I don't really know what I wanted to say, to be honest. Yeah, here you see my head. So I thought at this moment I want to make the background a little bit different, I think, because now, you know, I use the big dirty brush to just, actually I make the highlight now, but it's kind of hard with this brush, you know, and the painting is still wet, to go over some areas with the light. It's like a light skin tone, and to create the highlights where the sun hits, or the light. But yeah, this is also not so important, you know. It's you go usually in the paintings from dark to light, and the very light spots, which will be on the right side of the head because there the light hits the most, will be added at the very end usually. So of course I implicate where the light hits right now, but as you can see, the whole painting is not super progressed at this point. If you look very closely, you know, or not closely, but if you look at it, it looks like a face, obviously. But also just compare the hoodie and the shadow area and the light area of the face and the hair. It's just, you know, it's very, very simple at this point. And I think this is what I want to kind of tell you or show you, that in oil painting, which is usually, I think there was a fly in the video, nice. In oil painting, where it's usually very precise, very delicate, it's not super important how it looks like in the beginning, you know. It's not, you can use it, your approach should not depend on the outcome of the painting, because the outcome of the painting you won't know. Right now I have no clue how the painting will look like, you know, that I chose this darker color now to use there. So, you know, they're not really random, but I use this because the light comes to the right side of the face. In the original picture it's way lighter, you know, there's a window and there's actually the light coming through the window, so you have a light background on this side. But you know, it's, maybe I will make it light in the end again, so I don't know. It also really doesn't matter at this point. It's just, you know, be loose and enjoy the process, you know, make it something not so important. Make it something, I think this stage is the best stage, although the painting is not finished and, you know, it doesn't look like something yeah, finished. It's still, it's so nice that you can just do whatever. And yeah, I think this is the end of the video. I thank you very much for watching. I hope I didn't bore you so much. But yeah, this is how I usually go on in painting a portrait. And next video I will show you the next process, which I hope is going to be a little bit more organized in what I say. So yeah, see you next time.